Yeah, did you see it, Christos? It was pretty
I
creative,
saw a lot
right?
of it, yeah.
Did you like it, Christos? Was it good?
It was a good round.
Well, who won the round is what I want to know.
Alan won the round.
I won the round.
No.
I was on bottom mountain. I ended up on top.
What? Was this Mount Round?
Yeah.
Wait, then what happened? Okay, but then what happened after that? I feel like more things happen after that. You get to the top.
He tried to
Bashed you?
do what is that when you're both supine and you're on 50-50?
It's 50-50.
Oh, you're talking about like when he almost twisted you.
When we were rocking back
And
and
then
forth.
he almost cast lasered you.
I got out of literally everything.
Yeah, you did escape. To your credit, you did escape. It was close though.
Christos, what do you think about my jiu-jitsu?
It's good. It's good. You're winning hard competition, so you're obviously doing pretty good.
Sebastian?
Just so good. Just so good. Really very technical and sharp.
Okay, this is Real Talk with Maka, where I have real conversations with honest people, unfiltered.
Okay, Maka, can you please tell us the name of your podcast?
This is Real Talk with Maka, where I have real conversations with honest people, unfiltered and unafraid to share their stories. Today I'm here with Christos, Papadelos, and Sebastian Attard.
Thanks, Maka. We're all here. And it's very true. We are very unfiltered and are going to tell our stories, which is what you want.
Yes, so please begin. Can you introduce yourself, Sebastian?
Oh, yeah. I'm Sebastian Attard from Australia. And I live with Christos Papadelos. He's my evil housemate. He's like the evil devil on the shoulder, and I will be the angel.
And Christos, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Christos. I mean, I wouldn't call myself evil, but
He's evil.
but yeah, thanks for having us on your first episode, Maka. This should be a fun time.
Okay, let's just go straight into it. So we're all competitors in the room, and you guys recently just came back from PGF, Professional Grappling Federation. Thanks. Can you guys tell me about your experience there?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, to be honest. That's when I found out that Christos is evil. Because what happened is we actually ended up on different teams, and he was giving all my opponents private lessons on how to beat me before I fought them.
I wouldn't say private lessons.
Yeah, they weren't private. Everyone could watch. So everyone could actually learn from the experience on how to beat me up, and it worked. I couldn't summon anyone, and it's all thanks to Christos. Has nothing to do with me being bad, and everything to do with him being evil. But yeah, that was pretty much the whole experience. Really learned that he's an evil guy, and it was a lot of fun. What do you think of that, bro?
All right, well, number one, to my defense, I was only evil on day one when we didn't know what the fuck was going to happen.
And also on day 2. And actually, you were evil on day 3.
How?
You were evil on day 3. Okay, what happened? What happened when Travis Thomas faced a certain individual, and who was
Abraham? Yeah.
and who was screaming at him the tips?
I was calling stalling a lot. I was like, yo, Abe stalling. Okay, but here's the thing, right? With day one specifically, I really thought I would 100% get in on the winning team because Ryan Aiken was killing it. I was like, wow, if he keeps doing that, like this team's looking good. And I was so certain on day one I would get matches. So I was like, man, I'm going to do whatever I can to help my team win this competition because I'm going to make some money this week.
Yeah, but he did do a good of a job, and he helped his team so much that they actually didn't get injured. They just beat everyone. And then he never got to get any money, and he sucks.
Yeah, so
let's pause right there. First, love the stories. This is what we're here for, keeping it real. But can you guys rewind and tell us what PGF is about, how the rule set was structured, and some of just like the know how to compete in this organization?
Yes, indeed. It's very tricky because if you don't get a submission, it's a draw. Okay, and they just keep making the bottom guy stall. So 6 minutes is the match, and if you're stalling, which stalling just means you're doing like you're not going crazy. If you're not going crazy, you're stalling in this rule set.
True.
And they put you in the referee position, so your back is totally exposed, and everyone was complaining about it, but like they just have to learn the rules, like me and Christos did. We're professional rules learners, and so people were getting very upset about it, but you know it was good rules because it made everyone go crazy, and then it's why everyone is so sore by the end of it because it's 6 minutes of war, and if you try to chillax for 1 second, you're gonna get yelled at by the refs, and it doesn't feel very good to get yelled at, right, Maka?
I'm not familiar with that. I never get yelled at.
Oh, okay.
Christos, Can you tell us a little bit more to someone who is not well known in grappling promotions or fight organizations, what exactly PGF is about?
Yeah, I mean, this was their 7th season, and from what I understand, it's been kind of evolving every season, but they get 20 guys together, which is the active roster. Then you have some reserves as well. It's like 2 per team, so you have 8 reserves. And there's 4 teams in the competition, a draft on the first night, so you don't know who you're going to be teamed up with until
That's where people get bought.
That's where people get bought, exactly. Which you said earlier, you felt is kind of fucked up, but
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it's kind of like a fantasy football draft, like an auction draft. It's very similar to that.
Yeah. Sebastian, how did you feel about being bidded on and purchased?
I liked it. It made me feel very wanted and loved and safe. I'd prefer to have some people fighting over me than for me to fight for myself and pay for their own experience. All these competitions you do, you have to pay for it yourself. They were like, yeah, let me give him that much money. And they're like, no, this much. I was like, yeah.
And so let's talk a little bit about that. How much did you get bought for?
For $1,200.
Nice. And what was the highest bid on the athlete? Do you know?
On one person? I think Ryan Aiken was $5,200.
And
We're worth every penny.
He was worth $10,000.
Yeah.
And if you had to list yourself on who got bid on the highest, where would you fall on that list?
Pretty average. You think?
You went for more than quite a few guys. You went for more than Adam Bradley. You went for more than Kyle Chambers, I think. There were a few guys that was it's kind of surprising, to be honest.
Yeah. It turns out it doesn't matter how much you go for because I didn't get any submissions, so I scored 0 points. So I could have gone for $0 and it would have been just as good. But yeah, it doesn't really matter how much you go for. It's about how much you prove how much you're worth by the end.
And did you prove your worth?
No. I could have gone for $100 and it would have been a good deal. So $1,200 was a little expensive.
Yeah. So let's hear more about your experience in the competition at PGF. We know that majority of your matches finished in a draw. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. Well, they ended in draws, which is what you said. But it's definitely annoying because you have you're getting close to submitting someone. It's just such a war. And then you just stand up and no one wins. And it's like, well, great. That was a good exhibition.
What were some of your toughest competition?
The toughest match was probably against Travis Thomas. He's just so strong. He was trying to stall me out and win by disqualification. So I had to go spastic to not get 3 stalling calls because 3 stalling calls means that the opponent gets 2 points if the match just ends. But he had 2 on me and he was trying to hold me in north-south and I had to go crazy on a single leg. But luckily he didn't get those points. And yeah, that was the toughest one. And but they were all tough. Every single match was freaking hard. There was no easy ones at all.
And can you list some of your opponents?
Yeah. Who did I have matches with? I had Elijah Carlton, Travis Thomas, Dory Aaron. Then I had Caleb Crump, Ryan Aitken, Adam Bradley, Nathan Haddad, Brad Schneider, Kyle Chambers. And then on the last day, I had Kevin Sherrill, which is Handsome Kevin. He came in as the last replacement because there's so many people getting injured and also just quitting. That they said to this guy, Kevin, hey man, you want to do it? You're the commentator. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. So I fought Kevin, I fought Chris Olivo, and I fought Ernesto Rivera. So that's my 12 opponents.
Nice. And how did you do against Ryan Aiken?
Just survive 6 minutes. It's one thing to win, and it's another thing to not lose. Okay, so I decided I'm just not going to lose this one, and just demonstrated my amazing skills of escaping positions, which is my best skill is getting people off me. So, I just got him off me a few times and then escaped some of his leg locks and then we had a draw. So, I can maybe flex that I had a draw with him, but at the same time, I can have a draw with 10 other people. So, it wasn't actually that good.
And last question about your matches. What match would you say you had your best performance?
Oh, it's so hard to say. There was it's hard to say best performance because I don't really submit anyone. But I think...
maybe the closest you got to submitting someone.
I mean, the closest I got to submitting someone is I had Elijah Carlton in a full triangle, and then the time ran out, and that was just
and Caleb too. That one was super
and I had
close.
Caleb in 2 triangles. I almost became a legend 6 times the whole competition. I put Adam Bradley in cross Ashi 7 times. Couldn't heel hook him. I put Nathan Haddad in an armbar. I put him in a cross Ashi. I put Travis Thomas in cross Ashi. I put Elijah Carlton in a triangle. I put I had Caleb Crump in a washing machine. I had leg attacks on Ernesto Rivera. I was cooking people, but I just couldn't finish it. And now here I am, 11 draws, 1 loss. Got ankle locked by a random dude. It's pretty crazy because, by the 4th day of PGF, I've fought Ryan Aiken, I fought Adam Bradley, I fought all these dudes who are good, and then they can't even get close to finishing me. And I come across this guy, Chris, and I'm like, who is this guy? I don't care anymore. He grabbed my leg and it's wrecked it. I had to tap out, lost the match. So my dream of 12 draws couldn't even be achieved. I have 11 draws and 1 loss. So, it wasn't that good. But, you just can't underestimate anyone.
Yeah. But you know what they say, right?
No, I don't know what they say, actually.
They say that you never really lose. You just learn.
Yeah, well, and you never really draw either. You just get sad. So, this is all cliches, Maka. I lost the match. I lost. And I did definitely underestimate that guy, and that's something that they do with you as well, Maka. They just underestimate you because they think that your jiu-jitsu sucks, and everyone tells them it sucks because it's true. But then what happens is this other aspect comes out that the other girls don't understand, and it's called being a dog. Is that true, Maka?
I am familiar with that state of mind. Being a dog.
Maka has a very good state of mind. I would call it Maka mindset. Sometimes if I wake up in the morning and I'm just not feeling myself, Christos understands. He gets it. Like sometimes you wake up and you're like, and then I remember Maka mindset, and I'm like, what would Maka do right now? And I put on Nicki Minaj. I put on Nicki Minaj and Cardi B playlist, and the playlist is called Empowerment. And I walk straight to the gym and I squeeze the first person I can see. I squeeze them. So they ask me to let go, and then I don't let go.
Yeah, actually, I really appreciate you identifying that about my grappling style. My last event at the Enigma Invitational, you were commentating, and so this coming weekend I'll be competing again under main character. And one of the questions that they asked me ahead of time was, "What is my grappling style?" And my good friend Sebastian gave me something to lead with, which is just squeezing women really hard.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, like sometimes you can get a squeeze. One time, I remember Maka was drinking a coffee, and then she was holding the coffee cup, and I was like, "Damn, my hand does not get around the coffee cup that much." So Maka is just, she's built different. She has bigger hands than the girls, bigger wrists, more of a stronger mindset.
put your hand up, Christos.
Look, it's a big hand, yeah.
I'm 205. I weigh 205 pounds. I've beaten multiple world champions. I've submit them. And Maka Vickers has hands as big as my hands. So safe to say that when she shakes the other girl's hands, it's just not the same. They just shake it and they're like, wow, that's formidable. When you first put your hands on someone in a competition and you think like, whoa, this is a big, strong person. Maka has never experienced that because she is the one.
She is
It's
a
true.
big, strong person, yeah.
I appreciate you guys hyping me up. Okay, let's get back on track. Christos, can you explain more in detail about the prize money with PGF and all of the teams getting put together? What does that look like, and your experience being a reserve?
Yeah. Yeah, I got like a unique experience, but I think it's going to benefit me a lot if I compete in PGF again, just like kind of sitting back and watching this play out throughout the week. But yeah, they give $100K to the winning team. The winning team is the team that has the most points at the end of day 4, which is the regular season. Like Sebastian kind of touched on before, you get 2 points for a DQ win, 3 wins for a joint lock, and 6 points they call a kill, and that's for a choke. So as you go through the season, through the 4 days, whatever team racks up the most points wins. Ryan Aiken put up like 5 million points, so the New Hope team won very
Easily.
Yeah, easily, huge margin. Everyone put up subs, but Ryan he put up 50 points by himself, I'm pretty sure. So,
And then
yeah.
so after the team wins the 100K, there's a playoffs for.
Yeah, so team wins 100K. Everyone on that team goes home with 20K. Fucking sick. More than likely, there's going to be a few guys on that winning team that are in the top 8 for scoring. So they're going to be in the playoff bracket as well with the other top 8 scorers for another 20K. So you could potentially, like Ryan Aiken did, walk out with $40,000, which that's a lot of money.
That's 40 times how much I walked out with.
And Christos, how much did you walk out with being a reserve?
So
He should have worked out with $0. because he was evil. But it seems like for every evil person in this world, there's always a good plan out there for them. So tell them how it worked out, Christos, how you got rich.
How I got rich, yeah. So
Yeah.
I believe all the everyone on the main roster, they pay $1,000 to show up for the week. Like you can get submitted 12 times, but if you do all your matches, you'll get paid $1,000. The reserves get paid for whatever matches they compete in. So let's just say there's 12 matches in the regular season and I do 6 of them, I'd make half of that money. I make $500, and the other person who did the other 6 would get $500. So I did 3 matches on day 4 for a different team that I was drafted to, and yeah, I made $250 there. But then my team that I was a reserve for all week, that ended up winning completely healthy, which again, great for them. I thought I would get some matches, but it's okay. They were nice enough to tell us, the reserves, so like, oh, we're going to give you guys $1,000 a piece from our prize money. So that was very cool of them. So thank you guys for that. But yeah, really, if they hadn't done that, yeah, I would have left with like $250. But again, I got invited to have the opportunity to potentially make that much money, and PGF took care of like our hotel rooms, like everything that week for an entire week in Vegas. So I'm not, even if I left with nothing, I would not be complaining. I'd be just happy to be there, honestly.
So it sounds like you guys learned a lot of things, but let's talk about spending a week in Vegas, competing 3 times a day, I think it was.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about it.
Yeah, well, you get to the first day, everyone's look tough, excited, the matches are crazy. Then you come for the second day, everyone still looks pretty good. Everyone looks pretty good. And then, people start getting injured. You start seeing the people who are injured gambling and drinking at night. And, people walking around the hotel and they're like, oh, this sucks. And then by the third day, that's when you see where everyone really is at mentally, all the fakers. There's a few fakers in there, but, you can just see like who really wants to be there. And then by the 4th day, people are just happy it's the 4th day. People are just happy it's their last matches. You'll have a match with someone, and both of you have like 9 matches throughout the week, and like you just can't even bother to have beef with them. You're like, you know what, you're my friend now. Like, come on, we've done this. We've been through this week together, and yeah, you have a match on the 4th day, and that's just the most grueling day, to be honest, because the 3rd day is grueling mentally because you've already had 2 days. You have to do the 3rd one, and then there's one more tomorrow. So mentally, you're just cooked. But by the 4th day, physically, there's just nothing left.
Interesting. So what were some of your mental strategies navigating that?
Just back to the Maka mindset. So I was just thinking like, I'll be thinking, all these guys are tired, but like they don't have to deal with Maka every single day like I do. And like, just give me an edge. Just hanging out with Maka all the time, having to like answer her questions really does something to you. The other guys don't have Makas in their lives, I guess.
So I remember before you left, I had asked you what some of your strategies were. And if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, your plan was to just go out the door and break everyone as soon as possible. So that way they would be so messed up
Best
by the
plan.
time. How did that go?
That was a good plan. Sometimes the plan can be perfect and the execution can be horrible. So, the only thing that I executed was my Maka mindset. Other than that, actual jiu-jitsu wise, didn't get to do what I wanted to do. Next time on PGF, hopefully I'll get invited back to another one of the seasons. Definitely going to sharpen up my ability to actually destroy someone. Because, I don't know, maybe just everyone else also being there, like, having like a strong will. It's not like a freaking local competition. Like, you really have to finish someone at PGF. And, like, as much as I like to monkey my way through submissions, I definitely need to understand every intricate way to actually finish it because it just wasn't working.
Interesting. Okay, let's pivot from that and let's go down your jiu-jitsu career discussion. So, Christos, can you tell us a little bit about your jiu-jitsu career? I am familiar with you as a promoter, owning and creating Enigma TV. So tell us more about that.
Yeah. I feel like anytime someone that I've had on my show before, whatever, sees me compete, they're like, dude, you're actually like not shit. I've only ever seen you put on jiu-jitsu events, but you're not bad. Yeah, I just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like after life is broken down into 2 parts, Sebastian will tell you this.
There's
pre-PGF and after PGF.
Yeah, there's 2 different mindsets in this world. coming back from PGF, me and Christos really felt like we came back from like some big tough experience where we had bunkers and there was people dropping bombs on us. Like it was every day going to the venue on the first day felt like this exciting competition. Going to the venue on the third day felt like going to the beach to like welcome the intruders, and we had to fight them. So yeah, definitely Christos experienced what is the before and after PGF mindset. So before PGF, Christos, how much did you train every week? Or every month?
I mean, yeah, definitely not as much, for sure. But dude, when we when that qualifier came, I don't know what it was. It just wasn't stacked at all, and I was like, wow, there's no one in this. I feel like I could do that. Shit just like lit a fire under me seeing the qualifier come out. And actually going to it and doing well, definitely. That
was definitely exciting. Definitely. The qualifier was cool because there was no one there. That was the best part. That was the best part.
Yeah, it was the smallest qualifier out of all of them, which is cool. We got to go to the final, but I was definitely very surprised.
Wait, so yeah, let's backtrack and talk about that. You guys had to participate in a qualifier here in Austin in order to actually get the invite to compete on PGF. And you guys were in the finals match together. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, to kind of backtrack a little bit what you just asked, like jiu-jitsu career-wise, like no big plans. I don't really care to be like a professional jiu-jitsu athlete, but PGF is one thing. After seeing, even just competing one day, seeing how it all plays out and just the whole event and the people behind it, I fucking love that organization so much. Like, I want to be on that as much as I can. That's really all I care about. Any other competition would be cool, but that's like what my main focus is probably.
What is it about PGF?
Yeah, PGF is the only comp I ever did, and it didn't work out, and I was just so grateful that I did it.
Yeah.
Like, you know when you lose a competition or you get a draw or like something, it just sucks. Like, if you don't win a comp, the only good part about competition is winning. Nothing else feels good. But PGF, I'm just so grateful to have done it. Like, it was just the best feeling ever to finish that thing. And like, it's just so motivating to do it. Like, you meet so much cool people. Like, just the experience every single day, you're like with the athletes all week. Like, you really figure out who everyone is. You like the amount of learning. Like Christos, even like you didn't even get to compete every day. You just did the last day, but you probably learn more from watching and.
Yeah, 100%. The fact that I got to be there on the winning team as well all week, like be them with them in their team practices and stuff like that. See the approach they were taking, see the approach the coaches were taking, and be able to just like take that information going into the next season, providing I'm on it, which I think I will be.
I'm pretty sure you'll be on it, bro.
I think so, but you never know. Yeah, I feel like it was just so beneficial, like getting to see that firsthand. But yeah, I can't say enough good things about PGF. We kind of just covered it all. The one thing I will say, the biggest like lesson learned, I suppose, would be whatever you think is going to happen after the draft happens and you see the teams, the complete opposite is going to happen. This happened last season when like I forget which. Oh, it was Team X Marshall. Like they had Davis, Elijah. I think Ben Eddy was on the team. Who else did they have? I know Caleb was an alternate. This is season 6. You look at that team and you're like, oh, they're probably not going to do that well, and they win the whole thing. I feel like kind of the same thing happened this season where I was like, okay, Ryan Aiken's on this team, but no one else that's really known is on this team. And then blow the other teams out of the water. So you never think you know what's going to happen after the draft. You don't really know until like day 2 is over what's actually going to happen.
Yeah. So with that being said, with PGF, where do you guys see PGF playing in the field of all of the promotions, the jiu-jitsu promotions these days that offer super fights but no cash prizes, IBJJF majors, and all the other organizations? Where does PGF play in the future of jiu-jitsu promotions?
I mean,
you can go. Okay, let me say something. Let me say something very, very profound. If the world is fair, PGF is going to cancel every other event. It's just like, I don't know if it was just being there, it just made it so much better than like watching it on TV, but like being there, I was just like, how is this not like the only competition that exists? Like all the other comps suck compared to PGF. Like I felt like even like the biggest comps of the year, like, I mean, sure, CJI had so much cash money like given out, but I feel like the structure of the teams in the league and like coming in every day, or like even it doesn't have to be every day, but like just the league aspect, which every other sport, well, at least team sport seems to have, just made it so much more like an intimate experience. You know, You really
Yeah.
start to learn who everyone is,
Yeah.
like the personalities. Like in jiu-jitsu, it just seems like right now, it really is up to an individual to create their personality, and that is true in every other aspect. But then PGF just you have 12 fucking matches. You have 12 matches.
Yeah.
Like you have 12 matches against all these dudes, and it's the same dudes all the time. Like eventually, like you're gonna like figure out who you are, and like you're gonna be able to like put that out there.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is your experience at PGF, while it was gruesome and just like rigorous on the body, the mind, the experience alone is something that you're going to be able to utilize in the future, whether it be in competition with them again, with those opponents, or just like understanding how you form as a grappler.
Definitely that, yeah.
The rule set's fucking sick as well. Like, if one person's not going crazy, okay, the other person starts behind them. Like, that's...
It's great. And I'll tell you what, as well. Anyone who hates the rule set for PGF and any other people who are complaining, these aren't the people who are going to sell tickets anyway.
Exactly.
Like, an individual who doesn't like the PGF rule set is just not going to make that kind of money. Unless they're like, you have to be so good that, like, it doesn't matter who you are. But, like, there's not many people who are that good. You know?
Yeah, I remember a few weeks before you left, you were training in the training room a specific position. You want to talk about that?
The referee position, that one?
Yeah, how were you drilling it? What were you doing in your round? Why?
I don't know what's so funny right now, Maka. I mean, this is a very serious topic we're covering, PGF stalling position. Now, I was actually, luckily, the only person in the whole division to practice the referee position. And hopefully it works out that way as well next time, because apparently all you have to do is 2 weeks of it and no one can touch you. So it was very good to just get put in the referee position and just know that there was absolutely no one on the earth who could take my back from there, which felt really good. And then the time that I did get on top referee position, I was able to get my opponent's back and get 99% towards a submission before time ran out. But, you know, you have to practice these things. So when the rule sets come out and the rule sets change, rule sets should change in competition to make it more viewer-like friendly. You need to be start attracting people to actually want to watch the thing. You know, IBJJF is like, you know, oh, it's the World Championship, but who is watching? Who is watching the thing? You know, the place is empty, right? PGF rules, the rule set is constantly evolving and changing to make viewership more entertaining.
Okay, so then let's talk about that. The aspect of being a great grappler, good at jiu-jitsu, whatever it might be that you're focused on, but also the ability to sell tickets and to be an entertaining fighter. How do you see the two blending at the highest levels?
Well, okay, well, how about this? What's the most popular like football game in America is the NFL. And the reason is because the rule set of that particular game is so high impact, right? There's other kinds of football out there. There's rugby league, XYZ, all these other ones. But the fact that the NFL puts these dudes in suits so that they can hit each other harder, people want to see those big hits. And they make it so that you can forward pass so that the play can always happen in every direction. The biggest in Australia, there's NRL and there's AFL. And the AFL just has so much more popularity. And I really think that has to do with the rule set of being able to kick forward and move forward and the ball moving every direction. And people were just so, you can't take your eyes off the game. Whereas NRL, it's very popular, but it does move as a slower game. And it's sort of just two lines moving in and out, which is not as entertaining. Same thing as this. If you're going to have a rule set, you need to make it so that it's the rule set everyone wants to watch. And if that's not what you do, and everyone's going to complain, oh, no, this sucks, you know, not real jiu-jitsu, I can't sit in half guard for 5 hours. Well, that's true, but that is not going to make you money, sit in half guard for 5 hours. So, yeah, what do you think of that, Christos?
You literally just hit the nail on the head perfectly. It has to be watchable, like jiu-jitsu already is. Like barely anyone watches it. Only people that compete in it do. So, yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go. I mean, in Enigma, we switched to doing sub only, but using PGF style stalling calls. We do it a little bit different than they do the super fights. We'll do whatever the time period is, then a decision at the end, but the stalling calls are like PGF, or we'll do a shot clock and restart you in referee's position. I think people at PGF just didn't expect them to be that aggressive with the calls, which they said they were going to be, and I just feel like people weren't paying attention when they said that, because people were so surprised, like, oh, how's that stalling? Like, they said they were going to be aggressive.
Yeah, people just can't deal with change. You know, change happens for like reason. You know, people are like, oh, this is a new rule set, XYZ. Well, like, you're going to have to deal with it. And if you don't want to do the rule set, then get left behind because this rule set is so sick that like it has to take off. If it doesn't take off, then damn, that sucks.
Nothing will.
Big
Dude, if
missed
this
opportunity.
doesn't, nothing will.
Yeah, big missed opportunity, but like, you know, it was pretty sick.
Maka,
Okay.
what do you think is a better end to a match that's using those type of stalling calls? Decision at the end or like EBI like they do for the super fights at PGF? I personally like the decision. That's what we're doing with Enigma, but I see an argument for both.
I don't personally like decision because it's open to interpretation, whereas if in an EBI overtime, there's an actual score being put on the board based off of a technical action. And I think that's more evidence-based of who's the better athlete than someone's perception. So I think like EBI would
You
be...
prefer the EBI?
Okay, how about
I
this?
do.
10 minutes match, EBI overtime, but three referee positions is a DQ.
So it's EBI. Well, yeah, I mean,
That way they have to move because the scary thing about EBI is that they can stall.
yeah, but if they do that,
But
then
if they
it's
actually just lose because of 3,
you can just hold them down. You can literally just pin them down in side control. If they can't escape, they're
So
gonna get hit.
Let's backtrack a little bit and talk about what is stalling. PGF puts you in referee position in the competition when they see that the person maybe on bottom is framing, they're just trying to retain guard, but they're not initiating action. So what is actually stalling in terms of that rule set?
so what is stalling? What is and
Even
what
if
isn't?
even if you're getting, all right, it's always on the onus of the defensive person. So let's just say I have you pinned in side control and nothing's happening. I can just hold side, like the way they see it is side control. Why is the move if you don't want to? They'll hit you with a warning. They'll hit you with a shot clock. When the shot clock comes on, you need to fucking freak out and get half guard or turtle or do something.
You have to do something
But
crazy.
you have to do something crazy. But if I can just stick you to the mat, hold you chest to chest, side control until the shot clock runs out, it doesn't matter how hard you're going. If you can't escape, boom, you get hit with a stalling call. So it's not like a matter of trying to do something. It's a matter of actually creating enough movement. You have to just create enough movement where the ref's like, okay, that's enough to reset the shot clock. That's the way you have to think about it. I don't know, a few of Sebastian's matches, he reset it like 5 or 6 times. I know one of my matches I did as well.
500 or 600 times.
500 or
Actually.
600 times, yes. That's something people have to get good at too. Referee's position, but just knowing exactly what the refs are looking for in terms of resetting the shot clock, no matter what position you're in. I mean, sometimes you're just fucking stuck. It's not gonna happen, but you know.
Yeah.
Another thing I would say too is like knowing when it's okay to just take the fucking stalling call. Like if I'm stuck in side control and I cannot move and they hit me with a warning or a shot clock, I learned my lesson against Sebastian actually. I'm probably not just going to turtle when they're already so stuck to me. I'll probably just take the shot clock. Okay, whatever. Starting referees, I have way more space to work now to like spaz out in regard. So,
Spazzing the way to a win.
so it's just a matter of like getting used to the rules, like he said. The shit's gonna get very, very popular very, very quick. So people should get good at it.
Sebastian, so you're from Australia. Can you tell us a little bit about the competitions in Australia or the rule sets, how they're different from being in the States?
I definitely am from there. And so competing here is pretty cool because you're pretty much always going to come across people that you've never heard of who are really good. Australia is like a pretty like tight-knit small place. Everyone knows each other. So you're always going to come across the same dudes. And like there's people who are very good in Australia, people who would come here and just like you'd be surprised what they could do. But you just know everyone. And the thing about here is like, you know, some random guy can always just turn up and just beat everyone up, which seems to happen all the time. And then as well as just, there's just a lot more competition here. It just seems like if the more competition there is, the less people are at each one. Especially in Austin. Austin, people don't care anymore. Competition comes up, freaking a free competition at 10th Planet comes up, and if you win, you get flown out to Vegas to compete for $100,000, and people are like,
10 people came. It was me, Sebastian, and like 8 other people.
Yeah.
Insane.
Whereas
The
in
Austin qualifier.
if I was in Australia, it'd be 200 people.
I
turn
mean,
up.
to be fair, it was after ADCC Worlds, right? What was the exact
But
date?
it's just
Who was competing at
Austin in
ADCC?
general.
Like, what do you mean? There's like 16 guys in the division at ADCC.
I mean, CGI was going on at the same time, too.
Oh, yeah, and
There's
those
a lot
16
of
guys
local
too.
talent there.
Oh, sorry, 32 people. No, this is silly.
So what I'm hearing is you expected to see more people at the Austin qualifier.
There should have been because we're in Austin and everyone's good.
Yeah.
Austin's just dead. Guys, we're too spoiled with good jiu-jitsu here, and it's kind of causing a problem. Like, I feel like I don't even really want to put on, like, promote events in Austin anymore because no one turns up compared to how many people turn up in other places. So if you're in Austin, yeah, especially if tickets are like $20-$25 to an event, just pay the money and pull up because that's what's going to keep them coming back. I think ADCC has like 300 people signed up for the Austin Open in like 2 weeks, which I don't think I've ever seen it that low.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's ADCC's fault. I think it's just people in Austin
Yeah.
are not down to pay to compete. Would you disagree with me? I feel like that's getting pretty common here.
Yeah, I mean, we are also pretty spoiled. We, as active competitors, often get put on promotions for super fights for free. And so we're spoiled in that way where we don't really have to pay a registration fee so often. But there is also a line of where it's like most people in the sport also don't have a solid income. Most people work gig by gig and are paying for competitions maybe a week before they register. So there's a lot of challenges there. But let's segue into that. How do you make money in this sport as a high-level grappler, knowing you have to train several times a day, maybe different modes of training, strength training, wrestling class, whatever it might be? How do you foresee you making money in the future, Sebastian?
Practice for PGF. Go to PGF.
Yes, sir.
And get all the money. Use that money to get ready for the next one. And that's how you make money forever in jiu-jitsu. Forever.
So you have your first WNO match coming up. When? Tell us about it.
That's on December 4.
Okay, who are you facing?
Fighting Dylan Melton, some tough guy. He's a Brazilian white dude, so he's actually just American, but I would say he's a Brazilian guy now. He's been indoctrinated by the Gracie Barra West Chase guys. So he's gonna come at me with that Brazilian style, but I'm gonna come at him and porra all over the mats and do what I can to beat him up. So, he's pretty good. It's gonna be a 9-minute match, which is good. I thought it was gonna be 15 minutes, which I do not have in me. I have about 8 minutes 30 seconds. So that last 30 seconds down to interpretation, but the first 8 minutes 30 should be me.
Nice. Okay, so Christos, we didn't really get your feedback, but let's segue back to it. How do you think in this sport a high-level athlete has ways to produce a consistent income?
Yeah. I feel, you're saying a high-level athlete. I feel like someone who's kind of proved themselves that they're above average or, has beaten some good people or won some big tournaments. Like, I feel like there's so many opportunities now for people to take. You see people like Joseph Chen's a good example. I know he does like a Patreon. I know Max Hansen just started a Patreon. Those are just a few guys. There's a bunch of guys that do that, Patreon or something. Like Abraham, I know, has a subscription on Instagram. I know a few people that are doing that. I feel like there's so many different ways to monetize yourself and create like a community. I know Big Dan has his own like online community.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Saunders does that. I think he does pretty well with it. So I think it's a matter of marketing yourself and building kind of a sort of a community and not. I mean, you can open a gym too. You can absolutely open a gym. I feel like with doing something online like that, with online instruction and having virtual students, it just gives you a bit more freedom to train and do all the things you need to do to get ready for your next big comp. But obviously that takes time to do. But right now it looks like that's kind of the main thing is like monetizing your technique online.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, honestly, it's just as any good business model has, there are multiple streams of revenue. And so if I'm thinking of myself in terms as being the product of my business, then having multiple streams of revenue would look like me doing an instructional, a digital product for sale online. That's what I'm hearing. The online communities are a good way to feed into in-person seminars, or maybe you're a teacher at one of the local academies. I do know I've been doing jiu-jitsu now for over 13 years. And what I have seen in the back end of martial arts schools is it's not really that profitable. So, and it also takes a very long time to see those programs present a positive cash flow with a sustained instructor program as well. Like, it's hard to retain knowledgeable instructors. So you're going to play a teeter-tottering game all the time with owning a martial arts school. So I guess what we're pointing out too is what are some unique ways or creative ways that athletes can monetize their technique or skill other than what we've already just talked about?
I feel like a pretty easy general way to do it that you can see a lot happen is that just use the Instagram Reels to get followers. Like Instagram Reels is just a hack. Like it's crazy. Like I just couldn't believe how many followers I got recently from Instagram Reels. And then use those followers and then ask them to give you money in some way. So like, okay, no, then ask them to give you money. But like, you know, once you have people who are invested in your product, give a good product that's free. Give like, you know, instructional content, X, Y, Z, and then and even Abraham does a good job of that. And then once he has like a good number of followers, he's like, oh, by the way, here's the exclusive package where I'll teach you every A block known to man for $5 a month. He, you know, if you get 500 people giving you $5 a month, that's like quite a bit of money, 2,500. That's just off one thing. Like,
Yeah.
you could probably do that in various ways. It's just, I mean, of course it takes work and you have to have creativity on like how you're going to go ahead and do that. But I think if you can figure that out, which everyone is probably trying to figure out right now, definitely makes a big difference. Even my friend, this guy, Isaac in Australia, he just puts out like short reels on how to like do like a guillotine. And he got like millions of views on some of the reels. He has like 30,000 followers now. And from that, he's like my, you know, online student package. It's like $20 a month. And
Yeah.
like, you know, you get like 1,000 people buying that. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty damn good start.
Yeah. So if we're putting all of our conversation together so far, what we're finding out is it's not enough to just be a high level grappler. You also have to be an entertainer in the same aspect of selling tickets and pursuing it in that way. But what does it look like also to make money in the sport? That is not mutually exclusive with either one. So what you are finding is that if at least you can capitalize on building a social media following and building what looks like a customer base, that's a good place for a lot of athletes, whether they're high level or not. They want to pursue jiu-jitsu as a career, as a good starting point, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You gotta have a personality too. Like the guys that get the most attention are not always the most technical guys, or the guys that get the most wins. Or sometimes they have 11 draws and 1 loss, but they have the best post-match interview.
Yeah, that's true. I actually didn't beat anyone at PGF, and I got like 500 followers on Instagram, and I got like some reels with like 500,000 views. I didn't even beat anyone.
On YouTube as well, I think it's the most viewed PGF short on YouTube is his match with Elijah. So it's not even
because I did this. I did a crazy face movement.
So it's not even really about how good you. Obviously, being good is going to help you. Like I know this guy's good. He's won hard competitions to win, but even just
there's better people with less followers than me.
Yeah, like having a personality is going to go such a long way in like just keeping you distinct from the million other people.
I mean, we kind of saw that in the PGF bid. Your personality came out the first time the mic was handed to you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about being a big personality, Sebastian?
Well, sometimes you got to be born with it, and that's what I have. But you know, if you want to develop it, then I don't know, watch a bit of WWE. I started watching WWE when I was 7 years old, so I was off to a good start. And I just watched it every single day till I became one.
Who was your favorite wrestler?
That's a crazy question. Seriously, a crazy question. Maybe The Undertaker. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, he lives here in Austin, actually.
Yeah, we should go meet him.
We can, actually. I have some clients that live in his neighborhood.
Oh, great. Well, can you hit them up so I can meet him?
We'll work on it. Okay, boys, we're going to get close to wrapping up soon. Are there any other topics or things you guys want to put out there in the cyberspace?
Just going back real quick, touching on his interviews, him when they gave him a mic at PGF, the one he gave at the end, he had some shit to get off his chest, and he did it. And I'm proud of him for it. Seb had a bone to pick with quite a few guys at PGF, guys that were just pulling out, sending their reserves in for their hard matches and coming back in. You don't have to name drop, but
yeah, I mean,
what were your thoughts on that?
Wait. We don't have to name drop, but can you tell us about the behind-the-scenes experience that wasn't caught on camera? Any cool stories you can share?
Yeah, well, many stories. You know, it was just interesting to see people drop like flies mentally. You know, you have these big personalities in jiu-jitsu. You know, I'm in Australia before I ever came to America, seeing these guys on TV, like, whoa, this guy's so tough. You know, by the third day of PGF, he's not tough anymore. And that was pretty interesting to see, like, you know, going in there and like thinking these guys are going to be like hard matches, and they really don't come in there and they don't really try their best. They just turn out to be a normal person. In fact, not even just a normal person, but someone who doesn't even have that mental fortitude that you expected them to have. And that was pretty weird, especially like, even I got food poisoning during the event, and I just made sure I finished every match. And like, I'm not going to use it as an excuse to why I lost, but I was just going to make sure that I don't care what happens to me. I'm finishing this freaking week.
Yeah.
And like, it was just weird to see other people who have been given this opportunity to do PGF. You have this opportunity, you've been invited to come to do PGF, this massive competition, which they're trying to make the biggest competition in the world. And they have all the like the attributes of a competition that should be like that. And they're using you as the person who's going to be the platform to make it that way. And they're so invested. I've never seen anyone more invested in this competition as this competition. These guys are so obsessed with their PGF baby.
Seriously.
And they have invested in you. And you're one of the 20 athletes in the world who get to do this season. And you're going to quit. Like, that would, if I was the guys running it, I would be so angry. And even I got pissed off. I'm like, why are you quitting?
Yeah.
Like, wait, like, let's not say anything else. I was really annoyed. So,
I mean, we don't have to drop names, but could you share some circumstances in which some of the athletes were found quitting?
yeah, I mean, one athlete quit the second he found out I was on his team. No,
What was up with that?
no, it wasn't me, but I was a contributor. This guy wanted to be on a team with this guy thought it'd be him and like 4 Gordon Ryans, but it turned out it wasn't that. He said something on the lines of like, yeah, I'm already checked out, man. So, he sounded a bit like that. So he checked out mentally day one. People checking out when their matches got hard and then coming back when the matches got easy. Like, oh yeah, I don't want to do this match. Like, bro.
That happened to Jack Bidwell. Poor Jack, dude. He's doesn't get any matches day 1 and 2. And then whoever he was replacing had like fucking Kyle Bame, Ryan Aiken, and like Paul Ardilla, like some crazy shit. And Davis, I think. Yeah. So Jack went in for those 3 matches, and the next day the guy's like, "No, I'm good again."
He's like, "Oh, I got Dookie McDookieson. I'll come back."
Okay, so I really want to dig into like where your mindset is at when the going gets tough and you find yourself in the thick of it all. Like, what's your move? What's your strategy?
I told you the mindset, Maka.
Maka mindset.
Yeah, but in
Let
this
me explain to you Maka mindset
in
properly.
this context, you're talking about people who are actively quitting around you. Like the pressure is kind of coming in on a lot of people, and I mean, it's not like it's far-fetched for you to kind of catch some of that as well. How did you avoid getting the quitting flu, if you will?
Because Maka, the Maka mindset does not allow you to quit. You don't quit. If you have the Maka mindset, people quitting around you gives you strength. You look around, see the average person without the Maka mindset, they have like some other mindset. They look around and they see people quitting and they're like, whoa, these people are quitting. Like, oh my God, I need to start quitting as well. Maka mindset, you see someone quit around you, you tap into that Nicki Minaj soul of yours, and you realize you guys are quitting. I'm going to be the beacon of strength and the beacon of power amongst you Maka-less figures, you weak cretins. So that's pretty much what I did. I tapped into my Maka mindset and just decided that I was going to be stronger than everyone else.
That's awesome. I'm really happy for you got that experience. Christos, is there any behind the scene things that you can share with us without dropping names, but giving circumstances?
I mean, I feel like there's going to be so much stuff in the documentary they make. I think they're making another documentary for this season like they did last season. And there's going to be a lot of shit in there. Like people you would like never expect to like just be going at it in the back. Like at one point, Davis and Kyle Bame were just like barking at each other. It was super funny. Like nothing bad
like
happened.
legitimately barking at each other.
No, not actually barking, but I think Abraham and Kyle Bame, Abraham got 3 stalling calls or whatever. He tried a body lock pass. I forget exactly what it was, but I didn't even see the match. I ran to the bathroom. I come back. I see Kyle. I'm like, "Oh, Kyle, what'd you think? Like, was that warranted?" He's like, "Of course, bro, absolutely." And then Davis comes in and is like, "What are you talking about, bro? You weren't doing anything." And they just start yapping back and forth at each other. And it was funny. I mean, I'm sure you guys will see the video at some point. I don't want to spoil it. But just shit that you would never in your wildest dreams imagine is happening in front of you. And they got it all on video. So
Nice.
a lot of cool stuff
Sebastian,
like that.
anything wild or strange occur in your PGF experience?
Yeah, just not submitting anyone was very strange to me. Usually I submit everyone, but this time I submit nobody. So riddle me that. Maka figures.
Okay. Well, are there any other topics you guys want to discuss before we close out?
You've had some big wins recently. Let's talk about your dubs.
Yeah, Maka, what's it like being the Pan American World Champion?
Feels great. I was very happy
With all subs.
Yes, I was very happy with my results in the purple belt division. It was very easy for me to kind of secure the submission. Oftentimes I compete in sub-only rule sets where majority of my competition are black belts, or we're allowed to do heel hooks. As you know, in IBJJF, we're limited to footlocks. To certain footlocks we're allowed to do, and so that kind of makes it challenging. But yeah, I got 3 submissions, all rear strangles, or as PGF calls it, kills.
Kills, let's go.
Yeah, so I was very proud of
You
that.
scored
That's
18 points.
18 points. You scored 18 points.
You would have been
at
in the playoffs
Pantsing.
in one day.
Did you hear that, B-Mac? 18 points. Okay, moving on.
Does PGF have a women's 135 champion?
No, but they do have the 225 male plus division, and I think you would be a great reserve.
I would. I think that is a great option, or even the 155 reserve. What do you think about that, Christos?
Would you really do it?
A woman entering into a competition.
You would get destroyed.
I think it would not be good, but I think you should do it, and we'd love to see.
Well, there you have it. Is there any other topics you guys want to discuss?
It's your podcast, Maka. You didn't come prepared.
Well, Maka, if you told me that we were going to delve into new topics at the end, I could have prepared myself for some topics, but...
I mean, we talked about everything already, and I keep trying to hint towards tea time, and you guys are not...
What is tea time?
Well, Maka, how can I give you tea time if you don't say names?
Okay, but you can say a particular individual. We'll call him Apple, and we'll call him Banana. Like, you give them fake names.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Maka, do you think I'm that problematic that I consistently have tea like this?
You shared stuff already that happened behind the scenes.
Wait, okay, can you remind me of one so I can tell you about it?
How Kyle Bain...
Didn't we just do that?
Yeah, we just talked about that.
But you didn't actually talk about, like, what was the issue, or, like,
Yeah,
how we did in Q&A this morning.
Pretty
like,
much. Pretty much, Abraham got stalling calls against Kyle, got DQ'd. And then I said as a joke, like, oh, Kyle, do you think it was justified him getting DQ'd? And he said, yeah, of course. And then Davis was like, bro, what are you talking about? Of course, you weren't doing anything.
Kyle's like, shut up, man. You broke your leg.
Yeah, he's like, your foot's broken, bro. Sit back down. And Davis is like, bro, I fought you with a broken foot. I stepped in between your legs with a broken foot. You couldn't do anything. They were just going off on each other for probably like a minute. And again, it was all recorded. I'm sure it's going to come out. But just shit like that. Like, whoever would have thought, yeah, we're going to see Davis and Kyle Bain going at it in the back at PGF at the beginning of the week. Like, I never would have imagined that, you know. And I feel like there were a few examples of that where you just have no idea what the fuck is going to happen throughout the whole week, and the unpredictability of it and the ups and downs throughout the week is what makes PGF. I heard a couple people talking about, like, oh, what if it was like the season structure, but like you fight every weekend instead? I feel like that would low-key take the magic out of it a little bit.
It would be cool because you can make a longer season, and like there will probably be less injuries. But the fact that you're in there for 4 days straight, 4 days is ridiculous.
That's what makes it special. Like, proving you can go through that 12 matches and then the playoffs. Like, it's very cool. Very cool format.
Okay, then last question for each of you. What's next?
What's next?
Preparation for PGF.
The next PGF. Look, there's like little stuff in between, like the World Championships, but I don't care. I'm gonna try and win the World. I think I can win it, but like, it's just not as good. It's just not as cool. I would rather win one PGF than 10 IBJJF World Championships.
But you are actually doing World Championships,
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
And Christos, what's next for you?
PGF. And yeah, like you said, whatever's in between. Like, I'm gonna be doing my referee's position. I'm gonna be doing my beating the shot clock.
Me and Christos, when it comes to beating the shot clock, we're professionals. When it comes to doing the referee position, we are already professionals. We beat the shot clock just for fun. We can let it go to referee position every time, and we're still gonna like not get our back taken. So, a couple of professionals out here, we live together. We delve our minds. We're a couple of geniuses when it comes to PGF rules, and we're gonna keep up our genius trajectory, combine it with our Maka mindset, and it's just gonna be this magical thing. Two PGF legends coming together.
Sounds like a good time. Well, guys, thank you for being on the show. And I wanted to shout out Austin Fitness Community for allowing us to use your studio, and for the support here in Austin for the local jiu-jitsu community. It's really nice to be able to have a wider fan base segueing with fitness enthusiasts. So Love you, Awesome Fitness community. Give them a follow on Instagram. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Maka.
Thanks, Maka.